r/TalesFromRetail, Episode 1. Posting this one for a coworker from yesterday. Retail store. Coworker is a cashier. 3 ladies approach her register with a piece of luggage. Rather than hold up the luggage so the cashier can scan it, one of them rips the price ticket off and puts it on the counter. The cashier looks at the ticket. $21.99. Mom, this isn't the correct ticket for that piece of luggage. Customer and her friends proceed to argue that it came off the luggage and that it was definitely the price of it. Cashier then proceeds to call the manager for help. Manager shows up. He looks at the ticket and says no, also providing the evidence that the ticket says duffel on it instead of luggage. The ladies continue to press the issue, saying that it was the price on the luggage and that we have to honor it. They also got rather antagonistic, thinking that if they created enough of a scene that someone would cave and just sell it to them just to make them go away. Manager was having none of that. The ladies leave, but not before commenting that they were going to larger competing store instead. Yeah, good luck. Manager went to the duffel bag area and found not only the duffel missing its ticket, but the original $64.99 ticket for the luggage piece. Cashier got a company recognition card for her good work at the register. 2 ladies cause a huge scene so they can steal costumes. Earlier in the year I worked as a seasonal worker for a popular store that sells Halloween costumes during the fall season. It was the middle of October and getting super close to Halloween, so the store becomes super packed consistently. We had to have all registers open to help as many customers as possible. Even though all the registers were open, they stretched around into one of the item aisles, so there wasn't any time to waste on one customer. These 2 women went to the register next to mine, so I got to hear and see almost everything. One of the women appeared to be in her 40s while the other was maybe in her 60s. The younger of the 2, let's call her customer 1, was supposedly choosing costumes for her kids while the older one, customer 2, was paying for them. Things were going normally until my coworker told them the total. The Halloween costumes they picked were popular superheroes and pretty pricey. The 2 didn't like it one bit and my coworker had to call over an assistant manager to try calm them down. The assistant manager tried to see if we had any coupons we could use, but unfortunately we didn't. Customer 2 started swearing at the assistant manager, my coworker and customer 1 for choosing the costumes. After a few choice words they both decided to go back to find a cheaper costume. And my assistant manager told the people in charge of giving costumes to customers and taking any unwanted costumes back into the back room. After like 30 minutes the line died down. I noticed the 2 didn't come back in line, so I assumed they just gave up and went home. My assistant manager went to the back of the store to check up on the people in charge of costumes. The 2 women didn't give back the costumes. They went into one of the aisles without cameras while my coworkers were busy with other customers and stuffed them into their big purses and left. My assistant manager told me that they come here occasionally to cause a big scene, pretend to return items, then steal them. Mr. Clingy almost ruins a sale. Okay, I've been at work roughly 10 minutes today and already am pissed on mobile because apparently they are hated here or something. So there. A little backstory first. I work at a hardware store that has practically everything you need to build something, from hammers and nails to a yard full of lumber of all shapes and sizes, which is where I'm positioned. Anyway, the company, as per usual during busy summer months, has hired a couple of part-timers to help with all the customers we're getting. One of these new hires is a guy who is, I'd like to say, clingy. Whenever you move anywhere past him, he'll instantly gravitate towards you and stick 2 mere inches away. What makes it worse is that all the while he keeps telling the most inane stories, like about how he went shopping yesterday, etc. Cue to just moments before writing this. I see a customer with an already loaded trailer immediately after getting out of my car and proceed to ask a nearby coworker if they are already sorted out. This was a mistake. I see Mr. Clingy emerging from behind another customer's car and start walking away towards the customer with a loaded trailer, but alas, it was too late. The guy ignores the customer he was helping and sticks to my side, despite me trying to quicken my pace, and starts asking about my day. 9 am when my shift just started. We get to the customer with a clearly frustrated look on his face. He had brought the wrong length of a certain plank and wanted to swap them for the correct length. No problem. We're lenient like that. He'll just add the difference to his bill. One of the planks he brought back was also visibly damaged, so I took that off his bill as well. Before I have time to say anything else, Mr. Clingy is already unloading the man's trailer, all the while talking about how there could be more damages in the packages he was taking that we couldn't see. They came in fours, and then proceeds to talk about every possible problem that could arise with the product. I mean, the old dude probably already built half of his porch with this stuff. We don't need to make him to start having buyer's remorse right away. I should probably mention, though it should be obvious, that any and all lumber could have any number of defect, though those are unlikely. I just didn't want to lose this sale to a competitor because literally every store around here gets the stuff from the same supplier. Honestly, it's way too early to be dealing with this. 2 nightmare customers result in an awful time for everyone and a minor breakdown for me. Alrighty, this is going to be a long one, so buckle up. Sorry, but there won't be a TL drive at the bottom, since the majority of this story is context clues and conversations. Plus the title is essentially the TL drive, and I'm #XB. So I work in a popular retail chain that sells home improvement items. Not going to say the name because anonymity and such. I work at the service desk for the time being, though that will hopefully change soon. And let me tell you, today was an absolute nightmare of a time. And I'm #XB. Some backstory. Our stores offer a service where the customer can order online and pick up the products in the store. The main problem with this is that there are a series of different hurdles to jump through when it comes to this particular service. If the item is in the store, the drastically understaffed order fulfillment team has to hunt down the items, scan each one individually, print out a label with the customer's name, for easy identification later, then assign a place for it to be put. Often, the items are misplaced, or labeled with a location that they are actually not placed in, so this often allows issues to arise. If the customer orders a custom product that we do not sell on our shelves, or a product from another store, it has to be shipped to us. Again, lots of hurdles, because sometimes the delivery crew loses /damages the product. If it is a special order, it is made specially in a warehouse several states away, and then it is shipped. Due to gas prices, these special products are only shipped out once a week, and often are delayed if anything happens to the truck or the product while being manufactured. Afterwards, the products go through the back end, where they are labeled and put into our system as orders to be completed. Not the actual term, but again, anonymity. If they aren't put in our system, then we cannot take the items up to the front or label them. It's a whole ordeal. One thing I should also mention is that I am not supposed to be part of the service desk team, but rather part of the order fulfillment crew, but something got mixed up with management. That's not a huge part of this story, but it is important because it means I rarely, if ever, work with the products that we are pulling from the back or the shelves. If I had, both of these nightmare customers could have been handled far easier, but oh well. And I'm #XB. Me. Mark, not real name, nightmare customer #. Becky, not real name, nightmare customer #. And I'm #XB. On to the story. I was working a full 8-hour shift today, and within a few hours, things were going wrong left and right. Items were misplaced, training was misscheduled, and all around the service desk workers were not having a good time, as 2 people were doing 6 people's job. This was when the phone calls began. All conversations are paraphrased, but essentially just assume that all common sense went out the window with these customers, and I ended up repeating all instructions or explanations 4 or 5 times. And I'm #XB. Me. Thanks for calling. Retail store. How can I transfer your call? Mark. Hi. I ordered a set of custom windows about 2 weeks ago, and the receipt that you gave me said it was supposed to be ready for pickup yesterday. Where are they? Me. Let me check. Do you have the information for the order? Mark. Yeah, it's Order information. Me. Alright. I looked that up for you. It looks like the delivery truck has not arrived at our store. Mark. This is unacceptable. It said it was supposed to arrive today. Why is it not here? Can you not look up when the delivery truck is supposed to be here? Me. I'm sorry, sir. That's not something I have access to in the system. I am sorry that your order hasn't arrived yet, but we don't have it. Mark. What is wrong with you? My receipt says it was supposed to be there yesterday, and you still don't have it. Can't you call the vendor and ask them where it is? Me. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know about that. I just started a few weeks ago and I don't have much access to anything in the system yet. Mark. This is completely unacceptable. I demand to speak to a manager. Me. Getting angry but maintaining my composure. Sure. No problem. 1 second. And #XB. I transferred him to my manager. Happy to be rid of him. I made a note in the system that the customer had called and asked if a manager or someone else would be willing to check with the vendor and see when the products he ordered were supposed to arrive. I went back to my job and was doing normal duties when my manager comes up and gives me an earful for how I handled the situation. Apparently I was supposed to first tell him that it takes several weeks for special orders to arrive, usually between 3 and 4, depending on extenuating circumstances. And if he was still insistent about needing to talk to someone, I was supposed to transfer him to the special order specialist, who I honestly didn't even know was a thing. Thankfully, the whole situation resulted in a much needed training session for me and another employee, and I got back to work, feeling much more confident about my job. And #XB. Several hours later, I was working at the front, helping out some order fulfillment people, when I was called back to the desk to help with the line, which was only 2 people long, but that's another issue. I went up and called the next customer in line up, who, you guessed it, is Nightmare Customer #. And #XB. Me. Hi there. How can I help you today? Becky. Yay. I'm here to pick up an order. Me. No problem. Do you have the info for it? And #XB. I typed the information into the screen and 2 orders with the same number came up. I turned the screen toward her and clicked through them with her. Order # was an item that she had already picked up, but was still shown to be in the system. Order # was the product she was picking up, but which she claimed had gone missing and couldn't find. Again, all instructions / explanations / polite requests were more than likely said 4 or more times. Because who needs common sense, right? I know these people sure don't. And #XB. Me. Alright. So order # is item. Is this the thing you picking up today? Becky. No, it's not. I picked that up already. Me. Strange. I don't know why it's showing that it hasn't been picked up. Do you happen to have the slip showing that you picked it up already handy? Becky. No, I don't. Me. That's fine. I can mark it as released. I trust you. Would you mind just signing the pin pad down below? Becky. Suddenly offended. No, I will not. I already signed for it, and I will not sign it again. Me. I understand. It's just standard procedure that if we no longer have the item in our storage area, it has to be marked as sold and released to the customer. It won't make you pay for it again or anything. I just need the signature. Becky. Growing irrationally angry. If I'm not leaving the store with this item, I refuse to sign for it. Me. Mom. I'm really sorry, but if you already have the item, then we have to mark it as released. And #XB. This continued on for a couple of minutes, but keep in mind that at this point I've already been dealing with Mark, as well as a slew of people who, while not total nightmares, were not very nice. And I was exhausted since I only had 35 minutes left in my shift. I decided to leave it alone for the time being, and looked into the second order. And #XB. Me. Okay, we will talk about that one later. Alright, so order # looks like item, and it should be in our storage area. Becky. In a grumpy voice. Yay, they looked for it once already. They said it was missing. I'm not coming back for it again if it isn't there. Me. Alright. Let me check. And #XB. I went back into the storage area and searched everywhere for this package. When I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. In the area it was supposed to be, to the storage locations to either side, in all other locations in the area, and even underneath some carts, though I knew it wasn't supposed to be there. I asked my supervisor for help, and she told me to check and see if it was an in-store item, and if it was, then I should grab it for her. I also asked about the signature and she told me to ask again, and if she refused, then I would get my manager and ask him for an override. I went back out to deal with Becky, and checked the system for the item. Sure enough, it was an online-only item, so I couldn't pick it up in the store, and I let her know this. I also let her know that we could take care of the signature issue really quickly while my supervisor looked for her package, and at this point she went off on me. I was close to tears and in desperate need of ice cream and a nap, so I asked my manager for help. He told me he would take care of it, as long as I could take care of the customer on the phone for him. I said sure, and went around to the phone. And #XB. Me. Hi. Sorry for the wait. How can I help you? Mark. About time. I've been waiting for someone to pick up for 15 minutes. I checked the time on the phone. The call itself had only been running for 4 minutes, so I knew this was a lie. We also have caller ID, so it was at this time I realized that nightmare customer hashtag was back, for the 4th time today according to the notes. Me. Far more patiently than I felt. Oh, hello Mark. I just want to let you know that I did in fact talk with the manager who I transferred you to, and I hope he cleared everything up. Mark. He did not. I want my order and I want it now. Time is of the essence and I don't have time to wait around for your stupid store. Where is my order? Me. As I'm sure my manager told you, special orders take 3 to 4 weeks to make it to our store, so that estimated arrival date is unlikely to be entirely accurate. Your actual estimated date is closer to June 18th. Mark. I don't really care what your manager said. I want my order. I talked to a different manager and she said that there is a delivery truck coming in today. I want to know if my windows are on that truck. Me. Sir, I don't have access to any information regarding our delivery trucks, but I've been here all day and I haven't heard a notification informing us that a delivery truck has arrived. Mark. What do you mean you can't look it up? I need my windows now, and I have called a couple of times today asking where they are. Me. I'm aware, sir. I have been present for many of the calls, and I have access to the notes regarding the rest of the calls. I do not have access to the delivery truck schedules, nor do I have the ability to tell you when your windows will arrive because again, special orders take around 3 to 4 weeks to arrive at our store. Here is what you can do, however. Call special orders supervisor tomorrow afternoon, after the delivery truck has been unloaded and the items placed in the back. At that point, she can give you an update on whether or not your items are here. However, until we have the products in hand and brought to either the front or put in our back wall storage location, we cannot give you the product and we cannot tell you when your windows will arrive, as we do not have access to that information. In fact, according to the notes, it hasn't even been shipped out of the warehouse, so it will likely be another week or two until they arrive. And #XB. I stopped talking, amazed that Mark let me get through more than a sentence without cutting me off or screaming. And #XB. Mark. What is even the point of ordering online if no one can tell me when my order will arrive? Time is of the essence and I need these windows now for a contractor. If I don't get them soon I will never shop with your store again. Tell me who I can talk to who actually knows something about anything. Me. Very angry and losing my patience extremely quickly. Sir, I do not have the information you need and I seriously doubt anyone else can give you that information either until tomorrow. Like I said, call special order supervisor tomorrow and Mark. Just transfer me to someone who can give me the information. Me. There is no one that I'm aware of who can give you that information. However, I will put you on hold for 10 minutes and find someone who does, since you're so insistent. Mark. Silent for a few moments. Fine. Whatever. And #XB. I put him on hold and put another note in the system explaining that he called again and was very angry. Then called over my manager, explaining the situation. One thing to know about me: when I get angry, I start crying. It's something that frustrates me to no end, since people assume I'm weaker than I am. But I usually begin to cry when I'm genuinely angry. While explaining the situation to my manager, I felt tears beginning to well up, and my voice cracked. Thankfully, he's a super awesome and understanding guy and let me take my last break even though I only had about 20 minutes before my shift ended. I was pulled aside by a really sweet customer who asked me a question about online orders that I couldn't answer, and since I was even more frustrated about my lack of knowledge, I started sobbing. Thankfully, he could tell that I wasn't doing so hot, and patted me on the arm before telling me, very kindly, that he'd ask someone else, and that he hoped my day would get better. I really appreciated his kind words, especially after dealing with the nightmare customers I'd been trying to calm down for the last several hours. Thankfully, my break gave me enough time to calm down and get back to work. I just filled some extra orders and did a few returns, and now I'm home with way more ice cream than I can eat, and aching hands because this was a lot to type. And #XB. The moral of the story is, be nice to the customer service people because not enough people are. Plus, if you're nice, we will usually try our best to take care of the situation instead of passing you off. I would absolutely have been willing to help Becky out and hunt down the missing package if she had been much kinder about the signature and package. But she wasn't nice at all, so I left her with my manager. No idea if she got her issue taken care of, but I'll need to go back and get that override tomorrow for the signature since we have to take it out of our inventory. I would have been much more patient with Mark if he had listened to me or my manager in the first place and realized that I don't have access to the schedules of the delivery drivers or that the delivery date is not guaranteed and that the order was not likely to arrive for at least another week. And #XB. Thank you for reading. I hope this made you laugh or sigh at how stupid people are. Before anyone asks, no, Becky can't really be a Karen because she was way too young. Plus my store manager's name is Karen and she's actually pretty nice. That's some irony for you there. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for reading this monstrosity of a story. So, apparently Shoe Guy is bold and it worked for him this time. So, I posted story a few days ago, Friday last week maybe. To sum up, so you don't have to read the full thing. A guy filled bags full of shoes and tried to walk out of the store. He was caught pretty quickly. It's worth nothing that the store I'm in is majorly understaffed. We're supposed to have one person on till, one on the fitting room, one on shoes, one on accessories, and 2+ people on clear rail and tidy. Then a member of management doing vming and watching the front, preferably 2 where possible, so one can deal with things in the back as well. That's a total of people. Right now that's the amount of people we've got in this week, and that's with help from other stores. Today we had one person on shoes and fitting room together, me on till, one on accessories, but only until 12, and supervisors. One doing delivery and the other doing clear and tidy. It was also a rather bust day for a Thursday. One other person came in at 2. They took me off till so I could have my break. Coming back from my break is where Shoe Guy comes in. I walked through the door, and there was a guy stood there. He had a pair of sandals in his hand looking at them. I figured he was just deciding if they were the right ones. But then he saw me and instantly dropped the on a stand and started to leave. Then I saw the bag he was carrying. That's when it clicked. He'd been finding shoes to steal. I followed him to the front hoping I'd be able to find my supervisor close. Turns out everyone but the person on shoes, who at the time was at Children's Wear Shoes at the other side of the store, was stood at the till serving because we were that busy. By time I realized he'd darted out of the door, I didn't feel comfortable following him out. I don't do well in confrontation, and I'm a fairly small girl, so it could have ended badly if he lashed out at being caught. I ran over to the till, let the supervisor know. I swapped places with her and she ran out trying to find him. She didn't catch him, and went to look on CCTV, but it never caught his face. The only thing I can say I managed to do was make sure he only took half of what he intended, since he only filled one of his 2 bags. For the record, I didn't see him the first time, so I had no idea what he looked like, which if it was the same person explains why I didn't click on until I saw the bag in his hand. The first time there were at least 3 people there when he was caught, and 3-1 feels a lot more safe than 1-1, especially when the former would still have been in the store, not outside of it. There is a chance it wasn't even the same guy, but if not, it's very likely they were working together. TL, Drive-Guy gets caught stealing shoes a week ago. Came back today, or sent someone else in, when we were very busy and understaffed to try again, and this time he manages it. Customer claimed bedding she bought from our store gave her bed bugs, then brought in the dead bugs to prove it. This happened a few months ago and I forgot about it until the other day and just had to share it on here. So I work in returns at a big retail store that sells everything from clothes to jewelry to home items. So one day I was processing returns when my coworker next to me had a lady returning her used bedding in her line. We take items whether they're used or not. So this lady is very upset and told my coworker that she has to return this bedding because it gave her bed bugs. She then proceeds to pull out a paper towel with a bunch of tiny little dead bugs wrapped up inside and put them on our counter. We took her damn return and wrapped the bedding in a plastic bag with gloves and threw it away in the dumpster immediately and made her take her dead bugs with her. I mean, who does that? Bring your dead bed bugs into the store. We have never had another customer ever say that bedding she bought from our store gave her bed bugs. So lady, you probably already had them.